Yeah. Vidyamati, if you're ready, you can start Mati with prayers.
Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Today we'll be reading from Canto 7, The Science of God, Chapter 15, Instructions for Civilized Human Beings. Om Namo Bhagavati Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavati Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavati Vasudevaya. Narayanam namaskrityam naram cheva narottamam devin satyam vyasam tato jayamuriraye nashta prayeshu abhareshu nityam bhagavati sevaya bhagavati uttamasloke bhakti bhavati nasteki. Text 71 through 80. Text 71. Once there was a Sankirtana festival to glorify the Supreme Lord in an assembly of the demigods, and the Gandharvas and Apsaras were invited by the Prajapatis to take part in it. Text 72. Narada Muni continued, being invited to that festival, I also joined, and, surrounded by women, I began musically singing the glories of the demigods. Because of this, the Prajapatis, the great demigods in charge of the affairs of the universe, forcefully cursed me with these words. Because you have committed an offense, may you immediately become a Sudra, devoid of beauty. Text 73. Although I took birth as a Sudra from the womb of a maid servant, I engaged in the service of Vaishnavas who were well versed in Vedic knowledge. Consequently, in this life, I got the opportunity to take birth as a son of Lord Brahma. Text 74. The process of chanting the holy name of the Lord is so powerful that by this chanting, even householders, grahastas, can easily gain the ultimate result achieved by persons in the renounced order. Maharaj Yudhishthira, I have now explained to you that process of religion. Text 75. My dear Maharaja Yudhishthira, you Pandavas are so very fortunate in this world that many, many great saints who can purify all the planets of the universe come to your house just like ordinary visitors. Furthermore, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is living confidentially with you in your house, just like your brother. Text 76. How wonderful it is that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Parabrahma, Krishna, who is sought by great, great sages for the sake of liberation and transcendental bliss, is acting as your best well-wisher, your friend, your cousin, your heart and soul, your worshipable director, and your spiritual master. Text 77. Present here, now, is the same Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose true form cannot be understood even by the great personalities as Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva. He is realized by devotees because of their unflinching surrender. May that same Personality of Godhead, who is the maintainer of his devotees and who is worshipped by science, by devotional service, and by cessation of material activities, be pleased with us. Text 78. Sri Sukadeva Goswami said, Maharaj Yudhishthira, the best member of the Bharata dynasty, thus learned everything from the descriptions of Narada Muni. After hearing their instructions, he felt great pleasure from within his heart, and in great ecstasy, love, and affection, he worshipped Lord Krishna. Text 79. Narada Muni, being worshipped by Krishna and Maharaj Yudhishthira, bade them farewell and went away. Yudhishthira Maharaja, having heard that Krishna, his cousin, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was struck with wonder. Text 80. On all the planets within this universe, the varieties of living entities, moving and non-moving, including the demigods, demons, and human beings, were all generated from the daughters of Maharaj Daksha. I have now described them and their different dynasties. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of Canto 7, Chapter 15, Instructions for Civilized Human Beings. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Vidya Mataji. Thank you so much for reading today's translations. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Hare Krishna, Sundaracala Prabhuji and Radhika Mataji. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. The 71st till 80th verse, we are going to discuss the 10 verses from Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th Canto, 15th chapter, Instructions for Civilized Human Beings. So I'll start with brief prayers, dear devotees. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Patakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamsya He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यः च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. As a continuation of the instructions given by Narada Muni to Yudhishthira Maharaj. So the instructions are being concluded in this last few verses. So we're going to discuss from 71st verse of 15th chapter, 7th canto. So in this verse, it is mentioned, once there was a Sankirtana festival to glorify the Supreme Lord in an assembly of devotees, and Gandharvas, Saras were invited by the Prajapatis to take part in it. Upahutaha were invited, all the Gandharvas and Apsaras were not all, Gandharvas and Apsaras were invited, and the purpose is Harigathopa Gayane. So, in order to sing the glories on the occasion of Kirtana for glorifying the Supreme Lord, that was the occasion. Harigathopa Gayane. So, in purport, it is explained Sankirtana means chanting of the holy name of the Lord. That is actually the Sankirtan. It doesn't mean chanting the holy name of demigods. It is Sankirtana means chanting of the holy name of Lord Krishna. The Hare Krishna movement is not a new movement, this verse indicates. People sometimes mistakenly think Hare Krishna movement is present in, mistakenly think it's a new movement, but it is not the case. The Hare Krishna movement is present in every millennium of Lord Brahma's life. And holy name is chanted in all higher planetary systems, including the Brahmaloka, Chandraloka, and what to speak of earthly planets, Gandharvaloka, Apsaraloka. So the movement has started in this world 500 years ago by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Therefore, it is not a new movement. So our bad luck is that Prabhupada says that this movement is being interrupted, stopped by some external forces, which is meant for the benefit of the entire world and the entire universe. And the second verse talks about Stribhi Parivruto Gataha Chepurojasha. Narada Muni continued, being invited to that festival. I also joined, Narada Muni also joined, surrounded by a woman. I began musically singing, Narada Muni is saying, the glories of the demigods. Because of this, Prajapatis, the great demigods in charge of the affairs of the universe, forcefully curse me with these words. Because you have committed an offense, may you immediately become a Shudra, devoid of beauty, devoid of beauty, devoid of glorious, having birth in the glorious dynasty, all were taken out from him just because of committing one offense, which we think it is very, very simple thing to do in this earthly realm. What did I do? I've been glorifying the demigods. What wrong did I do? Here, it is being clearly highlighted. It's considered a big offense when Sankirtana, which is meant for Hari, some other names are being sung. It is politicians. You see the processions that are done during the election time in any country. They keep glorifying the politician, right? That kind of a, it is more like a open festival in the public, trying to glorify some mortally person who is not worth such glorification. So that is the biggest offense, actually. We should not really be, taking part in uh, such useless activity. It is considered an offense when a glorification is meant for Lord Krishna, Sankirtan festival. If we try to glorify someone else, it is the biggest offense. And it also angers the demigods. This verse is proving that. Aham cha gayam tad vidvan trivihi parivruto gataha. I am surrounded by the women. So what happened? Because of my helana, that because of my negligence towards the Supreme Lord, Shepur Ojasaha, I was forcefully given this curse by the Prajapatis, progenitors of the universe. So, as far as the Kirtana is concerned, Shastra says Shravanam Kirtanam Vishno. That is the injunction. One should chant the glories of Supreme Lord Krishna. And it is clearly stated Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu. One should chant about only Lord Vishnu, not any demigod. Unfortunately, foolish persons who invent some new types of Kirtana on the basis of some demigod name, this is an offense. People invent Kali Kirtana, Shiva Kirtana. Big sannyasis in the Mayavadi school say that chant any name, till you get the same result. All paths leads to the same result. If you buy a ticket to Pune, you will be destined to go to Pune. If you buy ticket to Mumbai, you will be going to Mumbai, not to Pune. So this Mayavadi philosophy is logically incorrect. So, but here we find that millions of years ago, Narada Muni, Gandharva, he neglected the order to glorify the Lord, being mad in the association of women, and began to chant otherwise. So, in order to satisfy someone else, he deviated from the primary objective of glorifying the Lord, but instead tried to glorify demigods. So, association matters. So he was cursed to become a Shudra. His first offense is to join the Sankirtana party in the company of lusty women. And his second offense was considered singing ordinary cinema songs uh, as if they are equal to Sankirtana. For this offense, he was punished to become a Shudra. 73rd verse. Although I took birth as Shudra from the womb of a maidservant, I engaged in the service of Vaishnavas, who were well versed in Vedic knowledge. Consequently, in this life, I got the opportunity to take birth as the son of Lord Brahma. Sushrushaya Anusangena. These are the key words of this verse. And the curse is given by glorious people, especially devotees of the Lord, is also a boon in disguise. It appears outwardly like a big curse, but it is actually a boon. So he took birth as Shudra, a son of a maid servant. However, he was put in a situation where he could get opportunity to get association of Vaishnavas. So he heard, uh, he did service to Vaishnavas, and he heard from them on the on the Lord, glories of the Lord, and consequently on the same in the same life he got opportunity to take birth as son of Lord Brahma. That was his past. 9.2 Bhagavad Gita. Mam hi partha vipashrita epishu papayonaya striyo shudras tatha striyo vaishyas tatha shudras tepi yanti paramam gatim. So the param gatim, that is going back to this spiritual world, is obtained when what happen when we take shelter of Krishna. But so by taking shelter of Krishna, it doesn't matter when someone has a low birth, someone is a woman, someone is a Vaishya, someone is a worker. It doesn't approach, as long as he is approaching the Supreme Lord for the shelter, he is promised by Krishna that he will achieve the supreme destination. They will go back to Godhead. It does not matter. It does not matter whether the person is outwardly qualified or not. If he associates with the devotees repeatedly, number one, sadhu sangena, and in this verse it is mentioned sadhu sangena as anusangena, right? And he can be elevated to the highest perfection. A person can be elevated to highest perfection by associating with devotees repeatedly. Narada Muni is explaining this in relation to his own life, if you notice. Sankirtan movement is important regardless whether one is Shudra, Vaishya, Mlecha, Yavana, or whatever. If one associates with a pure devotee, following his instructions, serves the pure devotees, his life is successful. Anukulyena Krishnanusilanam. Bhakti consists of serving the Lord Krishna and his devotees very favorably. Anushilana, serving favorably. Anyabhilashita sunyam. So, Anyabhilashita sunyam. If one has no desire other than to serve Krishna, his devotees, then his life is successful. This is explained by Narada Muni through this practical example from his own life. So, if you remember, there is a conversation between Vidura and Maitreya in the third canto. So, in the third canto, he mentions in one of the chapters that you see what I have heard from you, I have learned it. I've got the conviction by hearing you, but I have not got any realization. I have understood that material world is temporary. Jiva is suffering because of the misidentification in this material world. But I will realize that fact. I will realize that fact only by serving you. This is what Vidura says to Maitreya. Serving a pure devotee or a supreme lord will give us a realization of the fact that material world is temporary. Or whatever we have heard, that we will realize only by service. So here also, just like how Vidura proved that point in that third canto verse, similarly here also it is another proof that Narada Muni, just by taking association of Bhakti Vedantas, he was also delivered. Association being the key. The next verse talks about Dharmaste Gruhamedhiyo. The process of chanting the holy name of the Lord is so powerful that by chanting, even householders can very easily gain the ultimate results achieved by the persons in renounced order. Maharaj Yudhishthira, I have now explained to you the process of religion. And what is the process of religion that Yudhishthira Maharaj was taught by um, Narada Muni is pure bhakti. That is process of chanting the holy name of the Lord. So if you see Grihastha, there was actually, in a general common man opinion, a grihastha who is a householder, he has no hope of being liberated. That is a general opinion. And that's why Yudhishthira Maharaj has asked Narada, and that is what has led to these teachings by Narada Muni. What did he ask was how he could get out of the material attachment, how he could get out of the material attachment. But Narada Muni is citing a practical example of his own life, established that by associating with devotees and chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, any man in any condition of life can achieve the highest perfection without any doubt. यूयं रुलोके बतभूरि भागा लोकम पुनाना मुनयो अभियांति येषां गृहान आवसति साक्षात गूढ़म परम ब्रह्म मानुष्य लिंगम. So all of you Pandavas, Yuyam Ruloke Bhatabhuri Bhaga, are extremely fortunate. Indeed, you all are in this material world. Ruloke, you are extremely fortunate, O Pandavas. So now Narada Muni is glorifying Yudhishthira Maharaj and his whole dynasty and Pandavas because of the fact that they are devotees. And there are multiple reasons he is saying why for glorifying, why he is glorifying them. Because they were glorified because directly Lord Hari, Sri Krishna, is living in their house and coming to their house, frequent visitor. As if he is an ordinary human being, he comes like any ordinary visitor. Supreme Lord himself is doing that to the house of Pandavas. Furthermore, Supreme Lord Krishna is living confidentially with you in your house, just like your brother, and he's acting as if he is related to them. He has some relation with them. He is actually Supreme Lord of the whole universe, but he's acting as if he is their own family member. So now Prabhupada is clarifying what the deeper meaning of this verse. This is signifying the exaltedness of a pure Vaishnava. In human society, a Brahmana is most respected person. A Brahmana, right, himself is a very greatest position, right? Janmana jayate Shudraha. By birth, everybody will be is a Shudra. Janmana jayate Shudraha. Samskarat bhaved vijan. By doing Vedic purificatory processes, he will become a twice born. Samskarat bhaved vijan. All the external and internal purification will happen because of that purificatory process. Samskarat bhaved vijan. Then he will become a dvija. Veda pata bhaved vipra. After Veda patanam, by studying the Vedas scrutinizingly, one becomes a vipra. Brahma janati iti brahmana. The next level of evolution of the person after they become a vipra is Brahma janati iti brahmana. One who understands the Parabrahman feature of the Lord. Then he becomes a brahmana. So a brahmana is the one who understands Brahman. That's why Prabhupada says that impersonal Brahman. They will only the Brahmana is going to know only up to impersonal Brahman generally, but hardly ever one come to the level of understanding Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is described by Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita as Param Brahma, Param Dhama, Pavitram Paramam Bhavan. Extremely fortunate in having achieved Brahma Jnana, but Pandavas were so exalted that Parabrahman himself, who is Supreme Lord Krishna, was living in their house like an ordinary human being. The word Bhuri Bhaga indicates that Pandavas were in a still higher position than ordinary Brahmanas, Brahmacharis, etc. So following verses, Narada Muni repeatedly glorifies the position of Pandavas again. Priya Suhrud Matulena Atma Atmarhaniyo Vidikruta Gurus. So these are the different roles that Supreme Lord performed in their house with the Pandavas in relation to Pandavas. How wonderful is that? That is the crux of this verse. So Mahad Vimurugya, sought by great saintly persons. His association is sought by great saintly persons. Mahad Vimurugya, devotees of Krishna. And what is being described here? Matulyaha, the son of your maternal uncle. He is happened to be the son of your maternal uncle. Number one. So he is related to you. He's your relative. And Atma Arhaniya, the most worshipable person for you all. Vidikrut, and he has become a director for your life. Vidikrut, he became a director for your life. Guruscha, he also became your spiritual master. What a great fortune you have. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yenamami upayanti te. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, 10th chapter, 10th verse, those who constantly devoted and worship me with love, I gave the understanding by which they come to me. Krishna does not become the direct spiritual master unless one is fully trained by his representative spiritual master. Somebody who is very new to the devotion might be thinking, "Oh, Supreme Lord Krishna is Paramatma sitting in my heart. I could directly communicate with him." Here, Prabhupada is saying, before you, yes, he is going to give you inspiration from within, correct? But for pure devotee, the communication is constant. So one has to do the sadhana bhakti under the guidance of a spiritual master who is none other than a representative of Krishna, who is a super soul without, which is outside of us, who is directing us, training us, so that we can achieve that position of constant communication with Krishna, who is within, who is a spiritual master. Until that point, one has to rely on the perfect knowledge, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, perfect knowledge which was taught by the spiritual master, perfect representative. Saradi Parsha Sevana. So one has to achieve that by worshipping the pure devotee of Krishna. So the next verse talks about Maunena Bhaktyo Upasanena. These are the key words where he is worshipped by silence. Supreme Lord cannot be understood even by Lord Brahma. Na yasya sakshat bhava padmajadibi. Padmaja means someone who is born out of the lotus flower. Padmaja means who is Lord Brahma. Bhava means Shiva. Nayasya sakshat bhava padmajadibi. They also cannot understand Supreme Lord. What to speak of ordinary person? So if you heard there is a similar verse in 12th canto that says Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra, like that. There is a verse where in the last line it is said that Yashyantam Navidur Surasuragana Devaya Tasmai Namaha. His whereabouts cannot be understood even by the greatest demigods like Brahma and Varuna and Indra and Shiva. And such is the glory of him. By practicing yoga, but Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, is it that we cannot understand? Yes, even ordinary bhakta can understand Krishna just by serving him by following the path of pure devotion service. Mayasakta manapardha yogam yunjam madashreyah samshayam samagraman yatha jnasyasi tachrunu. Krishna says in first verse of 7th chapter. This is a very important verse. Mai asakta manapardha. Oh, here, O son of Partha, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, with your mind attached to me, how you can know me in full, free from doubt. So that is a promise given. That is the way to know the Krishna. And the next 78 verse talks about Sukadeva Goswami said, Maharaj Yudhishthira, the best member of Bharata dynasty, thus learned everything from the descriptions of Nagmuni. After hearing these instructions, he felt great pleasure from within his heart. In great ecstasy, love and affection, he worshipped Lord Krishna. So, in this verse, it is also mentioned that Pandavas were amazed by hearing these descriptions. And in fact, Krishna was standing nearby when these teachings were given by Narada Muni to Yudhishthira Maharaj. Supreme Personal Godhead is with us as our cousin. Certainly, this ecstasy was extraordinary. When we hear constantly, uh, Srutasya Pumsam Suchirashramasya, when we put that shrama, effort, trying to hear, when great Vaishnavas come for a visit, when we put that shrama, Suchirashramasya, when we hear for a very long time like that, with a lot of interest and so much of gratitude towards those Vaishnavas, sannyasis, and glorious devotees, what happens is Shraddha Bhakti Anukramishyati. The pure devotional service will consequentially follow. It is an outcome automatic in the natural process. One doesn't have to do anything else. All we have to do is hear from realizer souls. That's why it is mentioned, Pujyam asa supritaha Krishnam cha prema vikfalaha. That is the end outcome. What is the end outcome? One will get prema vifalaha. They become just like how Pandavas have become experiencing the ecstasy of love of Krishna by hearing from Narada Muni. That is the outcome for a sadhana bhakta also, if his devotion is matured. And the devotion is matured by hearing from realizer souls, pure devotees. Narada Muni, being worshipped by Krishna and Maharaj Yudhishthira, bade them farewell, went away. Yudhishthira Maharaja, having heard that Krishna, his cousin, is the Supreme Personal of Godhead, was struck with wonder. So, after hearing the conversation between Narada and Yudhishthira, if one still has any doubts about Krishna being the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one should immediately give up that doubt. Asamshayam samagramam, without any doubt and without any defect, one should understand Krishna to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Srila Prabhupada is reminding us that is the essence of hearing all this. Thus, surrender at the lotus feet, at his lotus feet. Ordinary persons do not do this, even after hearing all the Vedas. But if one is fortunate, although it may be even after many millions of births, he becomes to this conclusion, Bahunam Janmanamante Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate, by having frustrated attempts on inquiring about the absolute truth. Only after many lifetimes, Bahunam Janmanamante Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate, they will surrender unto him by knowing the real truth that Krishna is the destination. So 80th verse talks about Devasura Manusyadya Loka Yatra Characharaha. Living entities, moving and non-moving, including the demigods, demons, and human beings, were all generated from the daughters of Maharaja Daksha. Devasura Manusyadya Loka Yatra Characharaha. And who are all these living entities? Where did all these different types of diverse living entities came from? They actually took birth from the Dakshayini as children. They are all children of the daughters of Prajapati Daksha. And it is mentioned the Prajapati Daksha has daughters of, I think, Aditi, Diti, right? And thus ends the description of the different dynasties of progenitor Daksha, especially the daughters of Daksha. So that concludes today's purports of 7th Canto, 15th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Instructions for Civilized Human Beings. Thank you so much for your patience. Grandhar Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you, Sundaram Prabhuji. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yeah, thank you so much.